Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's Ceri the Crafter, and today I'm here because I need to replenish my stash of Arty labels. Now, to show you what I'm talking about. This is my box that I usually get my Arty labels in. I don't have a whole lot of them left. I use them in loads of different ways, on ephemera, in journals, actually on mail. Parts of Happy Mail use these as well. So this is all I've got left, and that's one I just did the other day. And these are just spare labels that I pick up in thrift or charity shops, which is what I make them on. Now, for me, the starting point for Arty labels is actually my brayer off sheets. So when I'm doing gel printing, I have a sheet of labels next to me and I just do a couple of passes with the brayer. And as you can see, it gives me various backgrounds. So we're not going to do all of these today. I'm just going to pull out maybe 3 or 4 and we'll do those. So there you go. That one got stamped with acrylic paint because I was actually cleaning off that foam stamp as I worked. Some are really pale, but then there's only this much here. That was just spare bits left over. So as you can see, I do make a variety of colours as I'm generating other stuff. Oh, and these are one sheet labels, so it's a whole A4 sheet of label. I normally treat these the same as these, although once these are actually stamped up, I'll then put these through my die cutting machine, which means I can use my dies to make maybe more ornate shapes or maybe panels for stuff. Again, there you go. And that's another one that's waiting. Actually, it might be one of the ones I do today, to be honest. Put that one on top, just so I remember it. So, what do I use them for? First of all, I'll use them for ephemera. I'll use them on mail. Say I send out mail or a package, there'll be a little one on the back. It's usually signed by me. I use them for making ephemera. I use them to do master boards. Here's a master board in my masterboard book. So as you can see, this is just a 12 by 12 scrapbook that I picked up at the thrift store. So inexpensive, but it's where if I've got a surplus of stuff, I will actually go through and I will use up bits and pieces. And there you go, there's an example. I don't always have to detach it from the book. I just cut a strip off this because I needed that strip. But yeah, as you can see, I tend to make master boards and then I keep them in this box, in this book, and that means I don't have a huge amount of scraps hanging around. Also, I mean, this is a journal I made recently, and as you can see, the cover is actually one of those master boards turned into a cover. So they're just an eclectic way of making up stuff, basically. I find them fun and useful. I use them in collage pieces as well, so they're a handy way of not wasting paint, to be honest with you. It means I can get the paint on a sheet like this, and then as I go along, I can come back and say I'm doing foam stamping, which you saw on that one that I've got in the box. I can then come back or do mark making on. So it's just take a few of these out of here. Should we the ones that look a little more? Let's do those too, because I want those out of the stash because they're a weird shape and they're beginning to annoy me. 1, 2, 3. Let's have one more. Let's see if we can finish this one off actually. And then these will just go back into. Let's pop that one out as well because that one's a part sheet. That's annoying. These will go back into the box you've just seen, and then I'll work on them as we go along. So I pulled out just a pile of stamps, foam stamps, gel stamps. Some are Tim Holtz, some are just ones that I've just cannibalized from other kits. As you can see, I group my stamps into like themes more than anything else. And I've also pulled out some flowers and leaves and things. Just a lot of my stamps come from eBay auctions. I usually put in craft foam, craft rubber stamp or craft clear stamp or craft stamps, and then after I put job lot, and sometimes I'll come up and then I'll do an auction and I'll bid. I usually have a mind in price before I go in, because if you don't, you end up increasing, and at the end of the day you spend more than you would if you bought the stamp in the first place. So I'm only using archival inks this morning. I've got a variety of colours over there. As I said, when I've got acrylics on the go, I will stamp with a foam stamp. For those of you who don't know what a foam stamp looks like, there's the stamp that I used actually on the others. These are made by PM Artist Studio. I designed for that company. This is actually a Fraud Davis design. These are Darcy Sanders. That's Eddie Riaz. Oh, good grief. I think that might be Rhonda Donar. That's a PM one, like designed by them themselves. So anyway, and I will just dip them in paint and then put them on. It gives me a more dramatic, heavier stamping effect, which is in contrast to what I'm achieving when I use stamps like these, because it becomes a less pronounced stamp. I'm not looking for a perfect background. I'm just looking for something in the background. So my first step is I'm going to come in and I'm going to put into the background of these some text. Now, if I remember which stamps are which, or I know the names of them, I will obviously tell you. But a lot of them I don't actually know the name of, because when they come in packaging, I get rid of the packaging and go for that. Right, these were both script stamps. They came as one big packet from Tim Holtz. So I tend to use this one a lot. So, but as you can see, I do have smaller, just generic little ones I picked up along the way. But this is sort of my mass make one. I don't usually take this one off the backing because the backing's solid enough. I'm just going to put ink onto the stamp. Now, as I said, I am not looking for perfect anything. In fact, sometimes if it's too perfect, it's distracting. So I'm going to pick that up, lay that across the stamps, and give it a press. Now, something to remind you of, if this is acrylic paint, which it is, the ink is not going to be able to absorb into the paint. So it will sit on the surface for a little while. So therefore, don't rub it or brush it for a few minutes because it needs to dry. I'm going to come in and do the other side. But see, that's just enough for me. Just wanted something in the background. And as I'm someone who does lots of mass making, I will go through. I think I've got this stamp upside down, actually looking at it. Yes, I do. That doesn't matter. I just turn them around. Oh, look, it's all the right way up. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to stamp each of these as I go. Now, there are other things I could have done with these stamps. I could have come in with Posca pens, and I could easily have come in and put in mark making. I could have doodled on them. I could have stamped flowers and gone around them. I could have pulled other mark making techniques out and done them with that. I'm using black for this. I could use any color I want, to be honest with you. In fact, we might do the next one in another color. So there's a little bit on that side and a little bit there. But as you know me, as you must know me by now if you're a subscriber, I like layers. For me, it's all about building layers upon layers. Right, let's see what other colour I can put. Quite like this. Let's see if I've got Lighthouse, which you would think is red, but it's actually sort of a plumish sort of colour. And it's going to be different because I'm putting it directly on top of a stamp that's already got black on it. So goodness knows what this one's going to look like. And as I said, this is a one page A4, goodness grief, sticker. Now, when I use stickers for my gel press, I do not ever put the sticker sheet onto the gel plate, because you're just playing with disaster there. Because what will happen is when you lift it up, all the labels will stick themselves to the gel plate, and you'll have the devil's own job trying to rescue them. So I wouldn't recommend that. You can, if you've got a one sheet of labels, you can put that onto a gel plate, but there's a bit of a technique to it. Make sure that you've always got an edge hanging over so that the gel plate can't actually grip the edge of the label itself. So I might do a video on that in the future, actually. In the comments, if you think that's something you'd like to see me do, just drop me a comment. Just say, Ceri, yes, can we see the one sheet labels being made? And I will endeavour to do that. Right, I've done enough of those. Let's change tack a little bit and see if I can get another one I want to use. Do I want to use that one? Maybe I do. Maybe I'll use this one. I quite like this one. I don't know where these came from, guys. As you heard me say, goodness knows where they come from. I've just literally got them on auction sites. Well, not auction sites. I got them on eBay. That is an auction site, obviously. Let's go to sepia. Sepia is another favourite colour of mine. And with this as the background colour, I quite like the idea of this. I also don't need to stamp in only one direction. But what I do find, for me personally, let's move that over because I'm not sure I'm in shot. I like to do either vertical or horizontal. Because if I go on an angle, for me, I don't like looking at it. I just don't. It's weird. And also, where your labels join, you can go across all four. Because remember, each of these is a separate piece of art. So let's see, where's the middle join? Okay, so that one will have that one and that one. I thought this was side to side. So, but I mean, I pick up my labels in thrift shops, or if I'm in a store where there's a sale area, a stationery store, I always check out the labels because they're usually hugely reduced, and it means I can get them and use them straight away. I'm loving them. And it costs me so much less money to buy a pack of labels sometimes than it is to actually buy paper. Now, if you're not someone who wants to do labels, as in use these, you can always use just a sheet of paper. Copy of paper or presentation paper is normally my paper of choice for things like this. But when I use stamps, not stamps, when I use labels on things, because I'm always wary about how sticky they are, or lack of sticky, because sometimes I've found if I've been using it as a braille off sheet, sometimes I find once you pull them off, they're not as sticky anymore. I don't know if that's because of the moisture in the paint going through it. So anyway, what I was getting at is you could just make an A4 sheet of paper, cut it up on your guillotine or your trimmer to be label sizes, and then just glue them on with a Pritt stick or a glue stick, which is what I normally do when I glue labels on anyway, because I have trust issues, people. I have trust issues when it comes to labels. It's a bit like washi. I've been let down too many times by washi to ever trust washi totally. But then in washi's defense, it's not meant to be something that's permanent. Right, I don't think I need any more scripts. Let's just move the script out of the way. Let's see if I can come in with something else. Right, I don't usually use this one, so I'm going to use something. I'll use that one. So this is, what is this called? Oh, this is called something fragments, obviously. Oh, it's just called Fragments, CMS 368 by Tim Holtz or Ranger. I quite like things like this because it gives you that effect in the background that's really, really lovely. Right, let's have a think about this. So I've got something that actually, I'm going to use Fern Green. Fern Green is my absolute favourite colour green from Archival Inks. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour green. Now, I am kind of trying to beat the sunshine today in that the sun is beginning to creep across my desk from over there. So if it does come within shot, I do apologise. There isn't a lot I can do about it. It's 7:30 in the morning here, and I've got to get this filmed today because it goes out today. And I'm hoping to get a second one filmed this afternoon so that I can try and get ahead again, because where I went on vacation, of course, I wasn't able to film. We'll take a closer look at these when I've done them, by the way, guys. I will try and hold them up as we go along, but know that I will show them later. See, that's just a lovely bit of detailing in there. And I think I might, should I change to another one of those? Yes, it will. Let's not make them all the same, should we, Griffiths? Right. I don't know how that goes on there. Right, I'm going to go to this one, I think. I like these fragments. I haven't used them enough, obviously. Right, so I'll stay with green. No, let's move on from green. Let's go to red geranium. I think that's a bit of an orangey red, if I remember. Oops, throw that across the place, Griffiths. Right. So again, because there's lines in it, I like to keep it vertical and horizontal. And don't worry about doing groups of threes or anything like that when you do labels, because remember, there's a whole ton of labels on here. How many is there? There's 12 labels on here. So that can't be 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No. 3, 6, 9, 12, 31, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 labels on here. So each of them is going to have a little piece of art on it. So don't worry about doing threes. The trick with this is to just keep adding and adding layers. Let's do a bit of a clean off about there because that hasn't got any. Right, that's another one, as you can see. Lovely, lovely. Actually, I think I'm going to use this one on here, and this one might then be done. And I'm going to go in different directions on this one, because this is quite a busy painty background, so I don't want to get so much on there that, oh, that's at an angle. That's going to really, oh, actually, luckily it didn't stamp very well. I was going to say, because you heard me say, I don't really like doing things on angles. Let's do a bit of a stamp off there, because this one I'm not sure how it's going to get cut up, so I'm going to put that one just to one side so I know it's relatively done. Now there's a couple of patches in here I might try and drop this into. But look at your stamps, see what you've actually got and see what will work for you. And a bit of a stamp off there. See, it's just bringing it all together. Right, I think that's that one done. Do I clean my stamps? Very rarely. I don't really see the point. I usually stamp off in that I try and get rid of any excess ink off the stamp. So I do that much for a start. Right, let's bring them back in and see where we start. Start from the start. Start from the start. Start from the beginning again. Okay, now I want to put some sort of feature on here. So I'm going to come in. Actually, no, let's do that on this one. Sorry, indecisive moment. I've got a whole array of butterfly stamps here, but this is, as you can see with this one, is my favourite. It's just a tiny little butterfly, but it fits perfectly on stamping like this. I find that if I do the butterflies too large, what happens is you then end up with a quarter of a butterfly on something. I don't mind there being half a butterfly on one and half a butterfly on another, but when you get down to it and you've got just a tip of a wing or something, it's really distracting. So again, as you can see, I'm just adding pieces. Now, because of the way the paper is, or the label, I can kind of see where labels start and finish. And if you really want to, you can always bend it back and you can see roughly where things are. So, yeah, these are a fun way to use up your spare paints as well. I think we've done enough with that one. You just do one or two butterflies on this one. We don't need everything to be butterflies. That one might be cute. Did I turn these upside down again? Oh, I'm confused as to which way up this is supposed to be. It'll just have to be what it is, people. Have to be what it is. Right, this is quite cute. I think the black on here would be really dramatic. Now this is beginning to fill up a bit. I can actually define where I want to put things. Again, if in doubt, fold the labels and it'll give you the crease so you can see where they're meant to be. I hope I'm in shot for all of this, guys. I'm sort of racing through this to beat the sun and not hugely focused on looking through my iPad. I think that's enough for that one. Right, this one I think I want to put some into some of these circles. Don't know why that's appealing to me, but it is today. Now, if there is one thing I would warn against, and that is putting words into these labels. Like if I chose any of the words on here, like luggage or condemned, you've immediately given that label a subject. So be aware of that. What I would do is, if you want to stamp words into these, wait until you're about to use them, and then you'll know what you're going to use them for. Okay, and then you can put a dedicated thing into that. So right, let's pull that down. Where's that butterfly thing gone? Right, there's other creatures in here, but I don't think I need any more of those. Right, I did like the look of these leaves, however. Right, those can go out there. I tend to put stamps out of my way once I've used them, and that is purely because if I don't, I will just keep reaching for the same stamps all the time. Right, this is a new set for me. I found it on the internet. It's sort of a no-name brand. I found it on Amazon. I just put in clear leaf stamp. And I was like, okay, this came through and I ordered it. I just not used it before, so as you can see, it's brand new to me. So we'll see how this goes. It's stuck down really, really well. I quite like the fern one in there. I'm going to come in with, have I got anything darker than fern? I just thought, I think I've got something darker than sepia. Ground espresso, there's a mini. So let's just put some ink on here. So I don't know, yes, that's going to pick up, okay. Now the first couple of stamps of this may not be great because it's a brand new stamp. Oh, and I slipped. Okay. It will dry. I must have been a bit heavy-handed with the ink. That's enough on that one. This just seems to be crying out for something like that. So you can see how fun these are. You can obviously build them on a theme. So if you're actually creating a journal or ephemera for a specific task, as long as you've got your roll-off sheets done, and they're the right colours, obviously, which is why I keep a variety of backgrounds like these that are unembellished, so that I know that I've got different colours to grab for, then you can use them for almost anything. If I do that, it'll go across two of them. Okay, I'm liking that, that's okay. Do I want to keep using it though? Let's just clean it off on one of these. Let's clean that off, okay. And I think because this is butterflies and pink, I think I actually want to go back to a green colour or a red colour or something. I'll change up and use another one of these. Right, trying to keep something relatively small. That might be okay. Right, I'm going to go back to this lighthouse again. Oh, the ink seems to sit really heavily on the surface of this stamp, which is, I'm being careful because it's tending to slide around on me. Can go to one side. I think this could probably do with the odd one as well, and I don't mind using the same colour. I'm looking over here. I wouldn't mind one or two on this as well, because it's a directionless stamp in that whichever direction it's pointing in. However I cut these labels, they'll be fine. See, that's turning out fun, liking that. Put some on here as well. Now, obviously, if you want something to really stand out on a label like this, make sure you use contrast, like opposing colours on the colour wheel, and that should give you what you're looking for. I'm liking this colour, actually. I wonder whether I can put it on any of the others. I could do a little bit of that colour on here. Comes almost a rust colour on the orange. That's okay. I'm not sure about this, but we're going to go for it. Yeah, okay, that's... I was worried it was going to end up Christmas, but it didn't, so happy about that. Right, stamp that off on something. Bit of paper, Griffiths, that's what you need. There you go, right. Lid back on that. So anyway, as I was saying, just work your way through your stamps, see what you've already got. You don't need to go out buying a load of stamps to do stuff like this. You are almost certainly got enough. Now at this point, I'll come in with stuff like these, which are like little what I call detail stamps. Probably not that one, it's too tall. But things like this, because it just gives you hints of stuff. Like I like using this one. Oh, sorry about that. And I like using this one because they're elongated. I sometimes put them on a longer label. Let's see, now I don't think this is a sticky one, is it? Oh, it is a sticky one. Right, let's come in and get some green onto some of these. Yes, I am stamping 3 of these only because there's space for 3. I don't need to stamp 3. Right, that one I think has probably got enough on it. A little bit up there. I don't want to do too much on that because it's already looking busy. This one could do with some, but I want to be careful not to be contradicting. I don't want 2 different leaves in the same space if I can help it. Let's just come off this corner a bit and do the same up here. There you go, that's that one done. This one could do with a little bit of this as well. Right, I'm gonna, let's go for it. Let's put it across both of those. This one I don't think needs it. No, that doesn't need it either. Right, that's that one out the way. Now, I think I would normally have stamped this one on some of them, but I really do think there's enough on here. This is one of my favorites for this because it gives you some really nice, I usually do this in black, but I think I'm not going to do any more of those. What I am going to do is I'm going to come through and I'm going to choose a number. It doesn't have to be a different number for every single stamp. I'm just looking for a number. What does that say above that? Serial number. Talk about the smallest writing in the world with a pair of varifocals. Let me just get a small block. Right. Stick that on there. So I like to add numbers in black because they really, really jump out then. And I will look for lighter areas if I'm stamping anything. Also, don't forget, you don't have to go vertical. You don't have to only go horizontal. Right, I do like my numbers, so. And then these will be finished. And then I will show you one trick that just helps you actually look at your label when you finish them. It's something I like to do anyway. And these again could just become a layer in the background of a collage. They could go onto a collage page. They could be part of ephemera. Well, you've seen the amount of stuff I've done with mine, so they are very, very useful. I'm loving this color combination. Right, I need to be wary of where these are. Right. Not that I'm saying I couldn't go across two labels. It's not going to worry anybody if a number is cut in two. It's far less impactful than cutting the wing off a butterfly or cutting the arm off something. We seem to be less sensitive to numbers being cut up. Right, I stamped across that leaf because the middle of the leaf was missing. It didn't stamp, so it was just a trick to cover up the fact that it wasn't stamped. You'll see that's going to annoy me. It's slightly on an angle, but this is the one that I'm going to cut with a die, so it means it can go in any orientation. The other thing I like to add to these as well are franking stamps from postages, you know, the round ones. I wonder whether I can reach some really quickly to show you. Let me just see if I can find some. I don't think there's any in here. There's a little one there, but that's not big enough for what I want, so. Right, again, put the stamps out of my way. I've now finished with those. Right, let me just see if I can find some postal franks. So these are the sort of stamps I mean, this sort of stuff, as if it's on a postage stamp that's gone through the post office. I like using those, so I'm just going to pop some of those in. It just adds another shape or another dimension to things. Also, because it's a label, it feels natural to have it on there for some reason for me. Now this one here is just only those crosses in that number. However, I could stick a label on top of that that's got an inscription or a phrase or a saying on it that could just be what that needs, and then that label will become a background for whatever I put on top. So at the end of the day, it's just inexpensive labels or copier paper or presentation paper. You're using up your spare paint. You're using your stamps where sometimes those stamps sit in a drawer forever and a day. And believe me, I speak from experience. I love my stamps, but half my stamps haven't seen the light of day for a long time because I tend to favour my stamps, the same stamps all the time. Now, I would think this probably doesn't need any more on it, but you know what? If I'm going to go for overkill, let's go really overkill on this one. I think once they're not on mass, they look a lot better. It's because at the moment, all of them are on the same page. Right, let's put that back where it came from. So I think that will actually build up my stash. Now what I'm going to do obviously is when you're not watching, I will go on and I'll probably do the majority of these and finish probably at least half of these off. So then I've got some blanks in case I've got a specific project, but I don't need to have all of them blank. So let's take a look at what we achieved. So this is the one that I can cut with the die cutting machine. Wonder if I can get my dies out. I have to think about that. I might come back to that. Okay, so when you see this now, what I like to do now is I usually peel the label outers off. And I do that because it helps me understand the size of the stamps, and also it gives me some indication of what a single stamp would look like, because I can now do this and now I know those are just 2 stamps. Those are 2 stamps. Those are 2. Do you see what I mean? So by taking the edging off, it really does help me look at them more in a clean fashion, should I say, because otherwise you've just got this mass of paint and stamping and it looks a mess. And that's not what I want when I'm trying to select something to actually use an ephemera or a background. So again, as you can see, taking that off, it just means I can bend it and actually look at which stamps I've got. Really liking that sheet. Really liking that sheet. This one has already been edged off. This is another one we might cut. And this is the final one. Come on, Griffiths, it's a label sheet. You can do label sheets, surely. I think I need another cup of coffee. It's too early in the morning for this. I don't normally film early in the morning, but I'm trying to catch up and get ahead. So as you can see, just by taking the trim off, this really does make that stand out. So that's what we've made. Now, what I think I'm going to do is, if I can grab my Big Shot and my dies. So let's grab the dies first. Oh, I keep my dies in one of these folders. And I don't have a huge amount of dies. I usually only collect dies if they're ones I use regularly. Like for those saw my postage stamps, so the postage stamps. That's the set that I do my whale tails with. Actually, those might be good. These are just on magnetic sheets, so I don't want to go through all of these. But there's some nice ones as well. Can I get to them? Let's just do those ones because it's easier, then I can line them up on the plate. I need to remember I've got those in there though, because those would be lovely. So move that out of the way. So this is my Big Shot die cutting machine. I have had this so many years. I can't even remember how many years I've had this. So and I love it. The only regret I had when I first bought this was that I couldn't afford the bigger one. It's called a Big Shot Pro, and the Big Shot Pro would do larger sheets. So let's just make up a variety of these up. Because I've got the entire nesting set, it does mean I can do a lot in one go. So let's pop that on there. I'm not going to give you instructions on how to use a Big Shot. It's really simple. You don't need a tutorial on it as far as I'm concerned. I personally feel the Big Shot is one of the best on the market. But see, now I've got labels that are that shape. Individual labels. Now I can enhance these further, and of course I can just peel the backs off these. So let's turn this around and maybe do these two again. I wonder if I can get that little bit on the corner. Don't get one of those. No. I can always cut that little bit by hand, and then I've just got a rectangular label. You don't need to go forward and back. I go forward and back because if I go forward, then you've got me reaching through and pulling out the other side. Not the most aesthetically nice thing to look at. So another label. So you can see just by isolating areas, they're great for ephemera. Now this little bit here, what I can do, carry with this horrible cutting, because I do not cut in straight lines. If I just do that, then I've now got that as a label. This bit I could keep, but you know what? No. there's a limit to which I will actually keep stuff. Right, now, because this is wider than the plate, I'm going to cut it right down there. And I don't have many of the big labels, so I'm going to do these a bit bigger. Now, obviously, as you saw, I positioned this, did you see? I positioned it so that this is in the label. You can, because you're cutting from a bigger sheet, you now have the choice of moving things around to get what you want in what orientation you want them. I should be able to get those two on there. Oh. Well, I didn't think I'd be doing my big shot today. So again, see, that's a really nice label. I could even put like a little Tim Holtz mini purse in there. I could put a butterfly on there. I could put a flower. I could. There are so many things you can do with these. Again, they're just backgrounds now, but they're beautiful backgrounds. Right, I really want those in this. And by that, I mean, I really want that section cut there. See, I can be picky about it. And then this might go across here. Will it? It will. I actually do have a magnetic shim underneath this, but for some reason it doesn't always stay magnetic, which is really annoying. I don't know whether it's the quality of the dies I've got. I thought these were Sizzix, but maybe I ended up with a die that isn't a Sizzix die. Maybe it's a rip-off die and I don't know it. Sorry for any jostling you're experiencing. Let's take a big shot out of the way so I can actually move again. Right. So there you go. That's another one. And another one. Now, I don't mind that on an angle because I will probably stick something over the top of it. As far as this goes, I could always come in, as you saw with the scissors, but also we also saw Kerry can't cut a straight line, save his life. So I can just come in with my guillotine and just chop the ends of this one off. And then I can tidy the rest of it up with the scissors later because it's too narrow for me to get into this space. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. Just a little something from me. As I said, I honestly needed to bolster up my selection of prints again, labels again, which is why I did this video. So just move that up there, please. So these are the ones that were cut out of the one sheet. And as I said, if you do want me to do a video on how to use a one sheet of labels on a gel plate, then by all means let me know in the comments and I will schedule it in for the future. We also have this. I'm loving this. Pink's not my colour, but I can accept that. I'm really, really loving this. That's beautiful. And although that looks really bright and garish, I think in the right situation that will look lovely as well. So, I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.